this is a little tributary, I guess, that runs into the Loire. I'm assuming that sometimes it has more water than this because it looks a bit bizarre. Though the mud does look kind of cool. It's made pretty shapes. And there is a big factory thing over there, but I think for one night I can tolerate the noise. It'll probably be quiet overnight. When I made my first video after my accidental year off YouTube, I mentioned that I'd burnt out in an events job the autumn before. It was autistic burnout, and before that month I hadn't really figured out that I was autistic. I've had people ask me over the years, and I always replied with a no, because if I was, someone would have told me as a kid, right? For a long time I had a very stereotyped impression of autism. Rather unsurprisingly, given what was in the media and how limited our understanding of autism in women and masking were when I was growing up. There's a lot more useful information out there now. After figuring it out, a lot of my life started to make more sense. For months, memories from childhood would pop into my head and I'd be like, oh, so that's why. The more research I did, the more mini epiphanies I had. But I also went through an identity crisis. I realised I'd been masking all my life, and I thought, well, if I stop, then who am I underneath? How do I even peel back the mask after so long? I still don't have the answers. In the past few months, I've discovered I start to feel grounded and more myself after a few weeks on the road on my own. I dance around outside at night, walk funnily in the woods, flap my arms when I want to, and talk to nature. Okay, I did the talking to nature bit already. It gets undone pretty quickly when I'm around people, because so much of my behaviour and masking is totally automatic at this stage. But it still makes me very tired. I've always felt drained after too much peopling, but it feels different now I understand why. Before I figured out I was autistic, I had a barrier of sorts between me and the world. I've always been sensitive to loud noises and bright lights, but the only way I can describe it is that I lived in a little bubble of denial, but that protected me to a certain extent. I had been told so many times that my experience of the world couldn't be how I thought it was, louder, brighter than other people seemed to find it. That part of me just shut it off. In the short term it worked, but in the long term it just led to one chronic illness after another. Once I'd come to my autistic awakening, that bubble burst. The world was even louder, even brighter, even more chaotic, and I couldn't shut it out. For quite some time, going to a supermarket was a sensory overload, and I'd be so stressed and tired afterwards I couldn't function. Some days it's still like that. My energy levels don't feel like they've recovered since burnout, and if I push myself, I just seem to set myself back for longer. It's incredibly frustrating, and I'm still not used to it. These days, when things are going smoothly and I've been on my own for a while, I just about think I can cope with life. Then something goes wrong and it really throws me off. The whole wing mirror incident the other week threw me off, and I feel like I've been a bit on edge since. It led me to have to start thinking about money again, and I've had a lot of work gaps the past couple of years where I've not been able to work, which has left me broke. In debt, actually, and not really sure how to get out of it. If all I needed to do was live, I think I could find a way to manage, because that's about where I'm at these days. I feel like shopping, cooking, cleaning myself in the van, getting some exercise, and remembering to sleep at a sensible time is me about done. Some days even that is too much, so I wonder where work is supposed to fit in. I'm still figuring out who I am. I guess we all are to some extent. I just had a bit of an unexpected restart in my mid-30s, just when I thought I had a reasonable idea about myself. I hope you guys hang around for my journey. I don't find it easy to share this stuff, but I'm going to try, because I want younger generations to have an easier time than us lot who are just figuring us out in our 30s, 40s, 50s and onwards. And there's more of us than you might realise. I'm very aware that there's a lot of crap going on in the world and people surviving in terrible situations. Unfortunately, telling myself that when I'm really struggling doesn't make it go away. It usually just makes me feel worse for struggling when at the end of the day I have a roof over my head and I'm not in any danger. I do try to take the time to appreciate that and the freedom I have. I hope by sharing this that someone else out there that's trying to figure out why they've never fitted in, never felt like they belong, and often felt overwhelmed at the world, will realise they're not alone, and most importantly, they're not broken. I also wanted to share a poem I wrote about a year ago when I was working through things. I'm going to pop it in my blog. The link is below if you're interested. I feel a bit funny today. I made the mistake of going into a city yesterday, and yeah, I just shouldn't go into cities. It becomes too much. I decided to go for a swim because I needed a wash, and I also just wanted to go for a swim. My last experience with going for a swim in a pool in the Highlands had not been great, and I'd had a bit of a meltdown, quite a bit of a meltdown in a changing room because of the noise and annoying people and stuff. And I thought it'll be good to kind of go do it before that becomes in my head the only way that a swim is. And it wasn't that bad. But I had someone bump into me when I was swimming around this, like, I don't know, round open kind of bit, which freaked me out. And then the lanes, I tried to get into the lanes, and they were too busy, so I'd gone to look at them and then gone, nah. And then I went back and thought, okay, there's just enough space in one of those lanes for me. So I went and got into a lane, distracted by something that I don't think is a dog. I think it's something that's gone in the water. Typically didn't bring my camera out, and I knew that I might regret it when I would see something. But oh well. So yeah, I went into the lanes and then just got stuck behind a guy going so slowly. I can't swim really slowly. Like I try, and I actually just end up stood on the bottom. It wasn't that deep, so I end up stood up, turn around, and there's this woman coming up right behind me, and I'm like, well, where are you going? There's someone right in front of me. I can't go anywhere. Had another freak out. Had to just swim like across, like I could get out of that lane. Just swam across and back out into the kind of open bit, and then I thought, I've done okay. There's lots of like place I don't know, signs that I can half understand and half not, because I half understand the French, and then there's always something that means I go, I don't know if I know exactly what that means. And I'm always like this in new places anyway, like I don't know where to go and what to do, and no one tells you that when you go to a swimming pool you've never been to before. You're just kind of wandering around going, oh, I'm not supposed to have my shoes on in this bit. A cyclist just made me jump by ringing his bell. Just distracted by nature. So yes, I always feel a bit funny going to like swimming pools and stuff I don't know, not knowing what I'm gonna find. What is that running across there? So yes, new places always a bit overwhelming. I understand it's kind of crazy because I decided to come to a country that most of which is new to me. So yeah, it was all a bit much. I thought I'd done okay. There were these nice like shower things inside the pool, these like jets of water. It felt like a really nice massage, so I stood under them for quite a while because it felt really good, and had a proper wash afterwards, which was great. Went back to the van and then just went, okay, that was a bit much, and sat in the van for like an hour watching old episodes of QI, which is my go-to when I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. I have a load of episodes downloaded on my phone, and the first kind of week I was in France, I watched an absolute ton. And I didn't really realise, but now looking back, I haven't watched any for like a week and a half until yesterday. So I was obviously coping a bit better, not feeling so overwhelmed, not resorting to non-stop QI. And yes, I went back to QI yesterday. And then went to try and do some laundry, or did do some laundry, and all fine, except didn't really account for what kind of time it was getting to. So by the time I left, I just got completely stuck in traffic for like over an hour trying to get out of the city. And if I'd thought, I'd have just left after swimming and gone and found somewhere outside of the city to do laundry. But I just don't really think in city terms. And I just went to somewhere like 5 minutes up the road because I thought that made sense and didn't account for how long it would take me to do my laundry. There's some egrets, I think, around, little white birds. I didn't bring my camera, as I said. I've got a tired arm. I really need to buy a selfie stick. I don't like selfie sticks particularly, which is why I never bought one in the past. I used to have a little Gorilla Pod to hold my phone with, but it's just a bit broken, and it just flops. It doesn't actually hold anything. I don't know why. And I just end up with a really sore arm, so I've got it on my shopping list. Ooh. Should have brought my camera out to take photos of the birds. Currently debating on going back. Oh yeah, I don't know. So when I've got like overwhelmed by stuff, I then can't make decisions. Like right now, I've just stood here for a couple of minutes going, do I go back to the car and get the van and get my camera? I probably also need the tripod, and then that bird's going to fly away. I might see another one, I might not. I can't make decisions. I couldn't decide where to go. I was in bed this morning and just doing some writing, and like I know where I'm headed, but I don't know where to go today. I don't know. I probably need to go to a couple of shops today. Could really do with some bread. And I just can't make a decision. I don't know. Yeah, I know I probably need to be somewhere quiet this weekend to calm down, but it's going to be a weekend, so the kind of places that I want to park up are probably going to have people, at least during the day. I also have a load of video to edit, and I can't make a decision, which is slightly frustrating. So I'm going to watch a bird instead. You're not going to be able to see it, I don't think, but somewhere in the middle there. I like this tree, it looks cute. It's kind of half underwater. Kind of want to hug it, but I might get wet feet. I don't want to get these boots wet. They're not suitable boots for that. Oh, look. I can see a stork and I'm thinking I really should have gone back for my camera. Just in case it flies away before I get there. There's a very fuzzy bit of it. I do feel like a bit of an idiot for not going to get my camera. Then again, I still would have probably tried to get too close to it and it would have flown away like it has. But I just watched a stork eating some fish. I don't think I've seen a stork before. It's kind of cool. Now I'm again thinking, should I go back to the camera? Ooh, what was that? Oh, I just walked into, there's some spider webs here that are like right through the air, flowing all over the place. Look how white that building looks in the sun. Otter over there, or maybe 3. I think it's an otter. I saw it on the bank really quickly before it disappeared. It's punishment for not bringing my camera out. You see some swans, and then just absolutely masses of whatever that is. So I did go back for my camera in the end. I haven't seen another stork, but oh, there's a whole load of, I think, muskrats. I need to do some ID work. We don't have these in the UK, so I don't know. I'm just crouched in a really awkward position. So they come quite close, well, relatively close. Once they've got used to the fact I'm here, they come back over to like this bit of the water. Which is why I saw them earlier, and I saw them do that earlier while I was standing still, them coming back, so kind of thought I'd have a good chance. When I went back to the van, not only was I then suddenly desperate for the toilet, then decided I really needed some food. By the time I'd done all of that, it went from being like bright sunshine and really hot to, well, let's just say I brought my coat and my hat out here, and now the sun is behind some thick clouds, I have needed them. It feels like a different day. I feel like I'm dressed for a different day. Oh, I can see some herons, maybe in the distance. Just a wee reminder that you can support me for free by watching the ads on my videos instead of skipping them. Get up and stretch your legs for a couple of minutes, and before you know it, they'll be over. I do feel quite a lot calmer after a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours, I'm not really sure how long. Quite a long time watching birds, and I don't think they're muskrats, I think they're the other one. Anyway, wildlife watching, and yeah, I feel a lot calmer, but also now I feel really tired. I just got back to the van. And it's already time to start thinking about food, and I'm like, should have gone and bought bread, because then I wouldn't have to think about food. But it looks like I'm going to spend a second night where I am. It was very quiet. There were a few walkers today. They were all very friendly and polite, so I don't think I'm inconveniencing anyone. And then I'll make a plan tonight for where I'm heading tomorrow and hopefully feel a little bit more together. Certainly slightly calmer now. I might have to just have a bit of a rest before I do anything else. I need to do some editing tonight. I might go find a beach tomorrow. That's quite exciting. I'll be back next week with more of my travels through France, heading down the Atlantic coast.